Hi everyone, it's Nancy here and I'm back with another Saturday Stash Dive, and this week I am doing Flair and I am paired with Robin for this challenge. So here I am just showing you my supplies that I've pulled out. I don't actually have as many Flair as I used to. I've been quite good at using them up. So I picked out these ones which are all the same sort of colour tone, and I've also pulled out some wood veneers as well that go with that quite well. I've then pulled out some Dear Lizzie Project Life cards. Again, they've been hiding in my stash for quite a while. And I've also pulled out that Chamel stamp set and then some inks and some thickers. These ones are called Fern, they're one of my favourites. So I've pulled everything out and I just wanted to show you where I am. I kind of decided on what colour scheme I was doing. I am aware that that piece of paper says Merry Christmas. It is from the Heidi Swap Christmas pack from last year, the one I shared in a recent haul, but I did just want some black paper to mount my photos on, so that was the only one I could find without really rooting in my stash, so I thought that'd be a good idea. I then had this piece of October Afternoon, which is Travel Girl, I believe. It's a grey and turquoise dot. Those two background papers are, I don't know if they're both from actually, that grey stripe piece is from the Wanderlust collection from Studio Calico. I recently got that cheap from TK Maxx, so I wanted to use that up, and it was a really nice effect, and I kind of wanted to go kind of quite monotone but with the teal, if that makes sense. I wanted to do black, white and the teals. So I knew that I wanted to have that photo strip, and I knew I wanted to use those cards, so you are going to see me fuss around a little bit here while I work out what I want to do. I know that I want to do quite a lot of journaling on this layout, so at this point I'm working out whether I do that as hidden journaling or not. But in playing around I decided to go with a grid design. So of course I realised this after I've cut my paper down, so the size of my photo strip doesn't quite work, but with putting that top piece from one of the Project Life cards, it brings it up to the right height. So doing this grid design then makes me think about how I'm going to put my Flair, and I decided when I started this challenge, I was thinking about it, that I really want to just like layer my Flair up in kind of a solid cluster. I've done layouts like that before, and I know that Mercy Tierra, Tracy done one with some of the wood sort of gem pieces on one of her videos some point this year. It was in a Scraptastic kit, and I like them all clustered together, and as the point of this challenge was to use up some of the Flair, as I said, I've been quite good at using them up. And I actually kind of realised how many I had in this turquoise colour, so when I was looking through my Flair I was like, okay, I have a lot of turquoise, so maybe I should go with the turquoise theme. Here I'm just taking my inks because I had this piece that was off it was a word and the other bit broken. So this just says O, and then I get a circular wood veneer as well, which I use my dark, I think that's the darker of the two inks from Stamping Up. And so that has made another wood veneer, so it's another texture there really. And there's also the ampersand. There is an Amy Tangerine sort of glossy sticker that were kind of round a bit before Flair. So I want to use my stamp set from Chamel, and so I'm just using this to stamp on the top of two of these journaling cards. That one says "Not the Highlights." And then I'm using my Memento London Fog to stamp these up. So I just wanted to add a little bit more interest to those Project Life cards. Completely forgot that I called them. So I'm now going to stick my layout down onto that backing piece because I want to start getting everything done and trying to work out how I want everything to sit. And I do find that that background doesn't make it hard to place things, quite even. So I'm going to fuss about quite a bit with getting things to look right. So I'm just going to stick that piece on the top there. And when I'm happy with the placement, I'm going to stick things down. I decided to go for a more central placement. And originally I was planning on putting my title at the bottom. So, but I don't end up doing that in the end. So I had kind of left a space to put my title at the bottom, thinking that would kind of even out the layout, but I don't know, in the end it looks okay. So I'm leaving that bigger space in the middle, because that is where I'm going to put my title. And I'm now going to start putting my Flair down. Oh, sorry, my brain is really not working today. I wanted to make sure that I didn't have any of the sort of two similar colours together, because there's kind of like lots of different colours of the teal, so I'm going to play about with that quite a bit. The subject of this layout really is about my recent health problems, and these are 3 different photos of me in waiting rooms. So the title of this layout is going to be Waiting. I think the top one is when I'm at the hospital waiting to have blood tests done. The middle one is when I'm at the doctor's. And then actually the bottom one is actually when I was at the dentist waiting to have my root canal and crown put on. So it's been a fun few weeks. They were like, you know, basically just documenting, you know, not literally just waiting in a waiting room, but also waiting to find out what's the matter with me, waiting to find out results from blood tests, waiting, you know, for stuff to be done. So it's kind of a multi-layered title. So I'm happy with how that title looks in the middle there. And in between my Flair, I decided to pull out some of those wood sequins. And they were from, is it Cloud9? I think Cloud9 was a collection. I can't remember who the manufacturer was. I can't remember, but I've used them before in videos, so and I've mentioned them. So I decided to use them to fill in a few of the spaces, and as I've got the other wood veneers on there, it's going to help to pick those out. I'm just using the Stamping Up 3D foam, because I find that's just the right height to stick these Flair down without them protruding too much off the page. Some of these already had some little bits of Flair 3D foam on. So I'm just sticking these down the side of that photo. And I decided to not make them necessarily too even, because I'm going to infill with some other little bits and pieces. While I have my glue out, I'm sticking down that title as well. And I'm kind of liking how it's working, but it's just missing a little bit. So you'll see there to the side I've pulled out some more blingy bits. So I have this beautiful lot of sequins that Kat from Cat's Scrappiness sent me. Catherine Triggers here on YouTube. She sent me these beautiful pack of sequins, and they're lovely. I've used them on loads of stuff, but they're still in there. I am planning on doing a turquoise and kind of a red sort of theme for my Project Life December Daily. So they're going to work fab with that. So I'm just sticking some flat back gems, which came from someone. I can't remember. I really should start writing on the bags who they're from so I can credit them in videos. I have a really bad memory. I'm just putting some sequins in that cluster down the side as well. And I'm just using different colours on there. It's just going to add a little bit of bling to the side. And I decided to just bring a little bit of that bling over and put some around the wood veneer arrows. And I put them pointing into the story. You know, so the photos where the story for the journaling on those cards are going to go. And as I knew that the main part of this layout was really going to be the journaling, I do actually have photos at the end of this journaled on. Looking at this layout now, I probably should have framed this paper, not used the black pattern and used a plainer turquoise. I'm not going to go back and change it, but in hindsight that's probably what I should have done. But I think it works, it looks okay. So I'm now going through some other bits and pieces from my stash. I have so many half-used sheets of gems and stuff like that, and they're not great to store because they end up coming off and just getting in a right state. So I'm on a mission to try and use a lot of these up, just because, let's say, their stickiness is not great, and then they're falling off, and then you've got like 2 or 3 odd ones that don't match anything. So this is a really great way to use a lot of those up. So I'm just going to be sticking the last few of them down, just going through what I've got on these sheets. And I said, this kind of I could have spent ages just sticking the tiny bits down here, but I really enjoy how it looks in the end, actually. But as I said, I do go a little bit crazy, just adding more and more and more. And I know my album's already bulky, but yeah, you know, maybe not have to do so many layered elements. I have these die cut bits that I've done on my cameo, and I decided that side was a little bit plain, so I just wanted to jazz that up a bit. And these are just some white, these cut out white cardstock. Just adding them helps bring everything, I think, together, because it's another kind of visual triangle that brings the journaling into the photos. So here are the close-ups. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you can see with the journaling how it looks very different. So thank you very much, guys, and I'll be back with some more videos soon. Please go and check out Robin's, and I'll leave the link below. Thanks, bye!